ladies and gentlemen. I want to read to you from Psalms 41, which says, "Blessed is he or she that considers the poor. The Lord will deliver him or her in time of trouble. The Lord will preserve her or him and keep her or him alive. And he or she shall be blessed upon the earth. You will not deliver him or her unto the will of her or his enemies." I want to stop right there. Now, before I go on, this particular video is based on that. In spite of the negative criticisms of Wonder Woman that we saw, some of them unvalidated, the movie is on its way to grossing above or close to $392 million when all is said and done domestically. Internationally, it is making a run to reach somewhere near $790 something million. That is, worldwide. And this scripture again speaks to a principle which is true, that when we live in a world where it is easy to tear down things, we live in a world where to pick fault or to badmouth things is a default operation. You listen in the news, you hear all kinds of bad news. You really don't hear a lot of good news in the news, yet it's called news, even though in real life there's a lot of good things that happen. So people actually find a relish or joy in tearing down another human being. Not only another human being, but if possible, tearing down an organization or things that have been built up. We all know that to destroy a building with dynamite, while it takes some planning and effort so you don't destroy the other buildings around it, when the ignition for the demolition is basically ignited or turned on, the building tumbles down in a matter of seconds. But you know, as I do, that it takes sometimes years, sometimes months, sometimes weeks to build that building. What I'm trying to say to you is to build something is a lot harder than to destroy it. But this scripture says that even when people seek to destroy something that really is built on a sure foundation, that is to say, it is true, it will prevail. And in this case, that's what happened with Wonder Woman, and that's what happened with a number of DCEU movies. A number of DCEU movies, even though people were having fun tearing the movies apart and trying to basically nitpick them and find faults with them, knowing that these movies brought a lot more to the table, people saw the virtue in these movies. They were built on a foundation. And so people went and supported these movies. Otherwise, these movies would have flopped. I don't care what anyone says. We had a superhero Superman movie. We had a couple Superman movies that flopped. We had a couple Batman movies that flopped. So it's not just because it's called Superman or Batman means that it is guaranteed instantaneous success. And not because Batman was fighting Superman, it meant that this movie was going to do well at the box office. But the haters and the detractors will continue to say that, though there is no foundation for it. And still, Batman v Superman is outselling, to this present day, on DVD and Blu-ray, Captain America Civil War. I want you to remember this. Remember what I'm saying. I repeat it over and over again. I don't think that the theatrical cut was a bad film. I don't think so for a second. I've seen some people write some articles recently about it, how it failed to convey a convincing villain, which is ridiculous. Okay, and then they focus on Doomsday as the convincing villain, which is just ridiculous. That wasn't the convincing villain. It's just like where they say that Enchantress she wasn't, the diabolical villain that everybody was looking at. Well, guess what? Enchantress may have been one of the focus of the Suicide Squad, but she wasn't the main villain. You are correct. The main villain in that movie was Amanda Waller. And so it's really amazing when people, in order to tear down something, because people find fun in tearing down things, in order to tear down something and try and keep it down, even though they know their rhetoric does not hold water, they will do it. They will lie, they will steal, they will cheat just to keep this thing down. And I say this because what I'm about to talk about is so ludicrous that you wonder, are people trying to find things to nitpick and hate this movie about? So let's get into it. In front of you, you see here a number of different dimensions of women here. And it says, we are all Wonder Woman. And quite frankly, I embrace that. I embrace that every single woman on this world, or in this world, that's entered this world, I don't care who you are or what your mental status is, I have to agree, they are all a wonder to every single man in the world. Because even though we may get along and we may talk, it is a totally different way that women process things and do things to men. I don't care what their mental state is. So I do agree that women are a wonder. And I also agree that for every single woman to feel that there's a part of Wonder Woman in them is awesome. I would even go further to say that some of us men can identify with Wonder Woman because a part of her values, not necessarily her femininity, but her values, we also embrace, and therefore we can say that we identify with Wonder Woman, even though we are not Wonder Woman ourselves. So I really appreciate this person who put this forward. This is awesome. But what really turned out to be something that was really stupid is when certain groups who say they're feminist start attacking Wonder Woman, started attacking her since Batman v Superman, claiming the following. So here is an article. This was actually on Movie Pilot. And this person says, as he saves it to Movie Pilot, Mr. Snyder, these ladies are Wonder Woman. Meaning that Gal Gadot, who was cast as Wonder Woman, wasn't Wonder Woman. That he was doing something devoid. And then that snuck up, and then we heard it again in the Wonder Woman movie. We heard them saying and claiming that Wonder Woman was not, the Amazons weren't diverse enough. They didn't represent everyone. You should have had Amazons who were in wheelchairs. You should have had, even though there are no wheelchairs back in the day, you should have had fat Amazons. You should have skinny Amazons. You should have had multiracial Amazons. And I'll get back to this picture in a minute. And this was the claim, and they were writing this chant against Wonder Woman. First of all, you can't say that the Amazons are not a diverse set of people. This is the first point that has no validity whatsoever. Here is some of the cast of the Amazons here, and they come from varied backgrounds, okay? And of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but the point is, if you look very carefully at all of these different women, they come from different backgrounds, not just in terms of racial and ethnic backgrounds, but also in terms of religious backgrounds. That's how far Warner Brothers went with this thing. And obviously there's a certain profile to them. Let me just give you some examples of what I mean. So if you look at this essential Amazonian here, or at least the actor that was playing the Amazon, she actually is a lady named Mo Saseg-Bon. Okay? And Mo Saseg-Bon, she is a Nigerian heptathlon athlete. Okay? That heptathlon is where you actually do multiple different track events, like you run marathons, you do sprints, You do long jumps, you do hurdles, you do pole vaulting, amongst the many other things you do. Okay? So to be a heptathlete is something that is, it's very demanding. Now, if you look at Mo Sasebon, you will realize the following things. She's very tall, but she's still not taller than this lady here, but she's very tall. Mo Sasebon is 6'1", okay? And you can see she's built like an athlete. And why would that be necessary as an Amazon? Because Amazons need to be, because you're a warrior, you need to be swift, you need to be quick, you need to be nimble, you need to be strong, you need to be able to, and because you're doing all these different things, if you were to see the training sessions in Wonder Woman, you obviously would look something like that. But still, people say that, Wonder Woman, she wasn't black, she wasn't, pudgy, she should be more bulky. I heard Gal Gadot is too thin to be Wonder Woman. Look at this woman, Mo Sasebon. Look at her build. She is built as an athlete. She does not have big bulging arms. You know why? Because as an athlete, a track athlete especially, who's running and moving and so on, you have lean muscle mass. You have ridiculous muscle, okay? And that muscle performs at its optimal level. And even though you do contact sports, because you're doing so much cardio, you're going to end up looking like that. Remember, there are a number of different things you have to bear in mind. She runs long distance, she runs sprints. She carries her body through jumps, high jumps, long jumps. She's leaping over things, okay? She's throwing things like the shot put, so she has to have a lot of torque and power, okay? She's throwing the javelin. All of these things are heptathlon athlete, my tongue is tying up, has to do. Okay? Now, you look at Mo Sasebon and look at Gal Gadot. She is also built like an athlete. Gal has always been built like an athlete. She's slender, she's slim, she put on some muscle mass here, but she's built like an athlete. And she had to charge across the field, running across the field, with uneven ground, okay? She had to look rugged. She had to look sturdy. And you can see here, in her sprint, using a shield, carrying her sword and carrying other things on her, that she looks like Mo Sasebon. Because Wonder Woman, Mo Sasebon looks more like Wonder Woman than she does, because, look at the fitness level here. Gal doesn't get full extension here, but then again, the terrain is uneven. But what I'm trying to tell you is that not anyone could do this. Not anyone can do this. And it's one thing to be in contact sports and stuff, but you have to understand it's an athlete you're looking at mostly first with Wonder Woman. She has to be an athlete. You must believe that she can run really fast and jump really high. If she's too bulky, it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying. So if you look at Mo Sasebon, she's not big and fat. She's not bulky, okay? She's very slender. If you look at her, streamlined, like Gal Gadot, okay? In fact, she's a perfect specimen of an athlete. She would be, because she participates in the Olympics, the Olympiad, the Greek athletes, she would be one of those. All right? Very easily. So I just wanted to show you this before I go on to the other part of this thing, which is also ridiculous. So here we have Nubia. And if you look at Nubia and you look at Mo could easily replace Nubia like nobody's business, right? You look at Nubia, right? This is somebody's drawing of it. And it would be awesome to have a black Wonder Woman, okay? Her name would be Nubia, okay? But my point anyway is, when they cast Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and why they didn't cast a black person as Wonder Woman particularly, is because there's Nubia. So what are we going to do? We're going to switch. Now we're going to have a black Wonder Woman, and then we're going to have a white Nubia? That doesn't make sense. Nubia, if you know the word, what Nubia means, a Nubia is referred to black queens. black gods, black goddesses. So it makes no sense to have a white black god. It doesn't make any sense to me, at least. All right. Now, as to the claims that, the Amazons weren't diverse enough, this person puts up pictures of different women with different builds. Okay, so you have short woman, short compact woman. You have short slender woman. You have big powerful compact woman, right? You have short kind of compact woman. You have, again, streamlined, strong, bulky, but still kind of slender woman. You have women with big, long legs, but very compact, powerful torsos, right? You're seeing all these different variations of women and say these women were not represented in Wonder Woman, which is ridiculous. Again, it's just another ridiculous thing. You wonder if these people are thinking before they talk. So, let's get into it. First of all, big, powerful, compact, right? This woman here. That would be Artemis, played by Ann Wolfe. You can see big, powerful, compact woman, right? And that's because she was a boxer. Okay? She wielded an axe. And she was hard and tough as nails, right? She could fight. So we have the Goliath in the set. Alright? Okay, let's move on. Powerful, compact woman. This is Brooke Ince. She's known as a CrossFit athlete. Okay, CrossFit athletes, they do all kinds of things. They lift heavy masses. They, if you ever seen American Ninja Warrior, they do all kinds of crazy things, use these contraptions, move across them. They also run very long distances. They swim. So CrossFit is, it's the whole spectrum. They ride bikes and stuff. And she is extremely ripped. I mean, she is powerful. I will show you a little bit more of her. Here she is. And she, shoot. She is, if you see her back, you'd think she's a man. She's got this huge back. Very powerful looking woman. And here she is in action. You see how her muscles ripple. She's very powerful, very strong. And in Wonder Woman, she just took down, all those soldiers like it. She just blew through them, okay? She's like a little tank, okay? So that basically takes care of this woman here, okay, and even this one. All right, Brooke Ince. All right, and Brooke Ince has a trainer. This is a CrossFit trainer. You can see she's powerful, but yet she's slender, streamlined, tall. Okay, this lady, she's around Brooke Ince's height, and she's built something like Brooke Ince as well. Powerful looking women. And again, you're dealing with women such as these. They have less muscle tone. Brooke Ince basically covers this set of women right here. Okay? And her trainer looks something like this. She's tall but powerful, right? Let's move on. So my point being, and they're much more ripped than those other women. Then you have different race groups, okay? And this here is Samantha Joe. Samantha Joe, I don't know if I have her this way. She was actually one of the archers that you saw in Wonder Woman. She was one of the archers. And she also was in a number of other movies. She was in Mortal Kombat. She was in Man of Steel. She was one of General Zod's army people. So she's been in a number of different movies. And her build, again, is compact. It's very powerful because she's a stunt coordinator as well. She's a martial arts fighter and a stunt coordinator. So I don't think there's anybody here represented by Samantha Joe. Most of these people are either white or black. Okay? So they don't even have that in their lineup. Isn't that crazy? They don't have Samantha Joe there. Let's just keep it going though. So there's Samantha Joe. I'll show you her. Here she is again. A beautiful Asian woman, as you can see. And the point behind it is, there's another very important thing. You see this is metallic breast part here, plate. And then you have the normal one. This normal one is so that when you're shooting the bow and arrow, you can actually have enough leverage to be able to shoot it. All right? And this one's to protect the breast. Yes, but anyway, you see Samantha Joe is a beautiful woman. But the point behind it is, she is Asian and she's a stunt coordinator. She's also an actor. and she's also a martial artist. All right. So here she is. She's kind of short as well. Let's keep it going. Then we have here a woman she's a model, but she's also a horse. She loves horses. She's a equestrian rider. Okay. So if you look at her build, she's very slender, very petite looking, but at the same time, she is also equally powerful. That is represented by this little woman here, but she's a lot taller than her. So these two are taken care of, which knocks out everybody that we were just looking at, right? But there's more. And I think her name is Cruden Dodson or something like that. I'm messing up her name. But I think it's KD is her name. And then we have here Mei-Ling Enji, another stunt coordinating woman. And she was also one of the archers. And you can see her leaping off. She was the one that leaped off the mountainside. And you saw her pulling the bow and arrow strings. It was her. She's a stunt woman. She eventually got killed, of course, with the bullet. But the point is, she was in this movie. Again, another Asian woman. And we had women from India. We had women from all over the world. But mostly, if you look at their profiles, whether they are compact or not, you had all this diversity of women in Wonder Woman. A lot of diversity, okay? And you had all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds, okay? And just because they may look a certain color doesn't mean that they all come from the same. And also we had people from many different kinds of religions that actually were in Wonder Woman. We had some Muslims in there. We had some people who were just secular. We had some Christians in there. We had all kinds of people, Mormons, all kinds of people were in it. And that's another thing people didn't realize. This cast was so diverse in so many different ways, coming from all over the world. And these were the best of the best that they could find, because, you know, even if you got body fat on you, it gonna be toned up like hell, because when you are fighting battles so much, you're in warfare, you're going to be fit no matter what your body type is. And we've seen every single body type represented in the Amazons. That's why I was very interested in the Amazons. But back to my original point, which is what I'm making. My original point is that these people who claimed that Wonder Woman didn't represent the diversity of women out there, and these people who were claiming that Zack Snyder picked Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but she should not be white, she shouldn't be this white female person, both claims are just so stupid that you wonder. People are so busy trying to tear down and find fault with these DCEU movies, because that's the trend to do. It's a trend to bash these movies, that they can't even come up with something that makes sense anymore. They can't. And that's what makes the thing so stupid. And I'm so glad that Wonder Woman is succeeding, because when you hate on films, you know, I remember the most dumbest thing in the world. People were bashing the Martha moment in Batman v Superman. They were bashing it. And they made memes on it. They made memes on General Zod saying, "I will find him, Laura. I will find him." And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I will find him. Is that funny? No, I don't find so. When I thought about Batman v Superman, the Martha moment, I'm like, why is that something that these people poking fun at? I still don't get it. But I get that people hate what they don't understand, or they try to vitalize things which are supposedly bad, which are not. So you get some people who come up with nonsensical nonsense to be able to bash on a film. We know that the people in Palestine, Lebanon, etc., they have a grouse against Gal Gadot for reasons really unknown to me, because Gal does not want a war with Israel and Palestine. She said that. She's been on the record. She said she's against the terrorist organizations in Palestine and that they should be stomped out of Palestine, which makes sense. I agree. Right? she has been in the military army. All Israelis have to do that. Okay? Does she support the military, the Israeli military army? Yes, she does. She will support her national army. Doesn't mean that she agrees with everything they're doing. So I just don't get why all this hate towards Gal by the Middle Eastern people. I understand there's this rift between Israel and Palestine, and I'm also in agreement with certain things, such as we know Israel was a Palestinian initiative, and they just kind of just claimed land. The Israelis used to live in peace with the Palestinians before the Palestinian initiative, where certain rich people decided we're going to make our presence felt back in Palestine because we think God has told us to re-enter. Whatever. My point anyway is this. At the end of the day, y'all guys fighting off of the West Bank and all of this stuff, but have the common sense and decency to understand some people in your country want to see this movie because Wonder Woman's a big icon. And if you want to make a political statement and hurt the people in your country because you feel that this person represents something which she may not represent, because she's a human being just like everyone else. If she agrees to the bombing of Palestinians, I could understand that. She does not agree to that. See what I'm saying? She does not agree to those things. But because she's in proxy, she's been, part of the military and she supports the Israeli military, you're going to tell me that's what's going to cause you to ban her movie? Come on. Grow up. Grow up. You didn't ban the Fast and Furious movies. Why? But when it comes to Wonder Woman, you're going to ban it? We know what's up. We know what's up, and we know who's stirring that stuff up. And it's sad when we see haters out here. People who just want to hate on something. They want to hate on something. Not that it makes a difference how a box office would be, but you deprive other people of seeing a movie that can give them hope. Because the whole movie was about Wonder Woman fighting for the oppressed, the people who were being oppressed. So if there's any movie that would have appealed to people in Lebanon and Palestine, it would be that movie. It should inspire them to break their oppression under Israel. If Israel's trying to put an iron rod on you and still bombing territories near to the West Bank, still bombing out your people, claiming that they're going after terrorists, well then, now's your chance to use Wonder Woman as that voice and show that an Israeli woman is willing to step up and actually say that that's wrong. And Gal should have the balls and the kahunas. Well, she's not a man, but she should have the presence of mind to understand that and to be able to express boldly what she feels. And she should do that. Israel is rejoicing that there's an Israeli who's playing Wonder Woman, and that's cool. But Gal must use her voice to say how she does not agree in oppressing the Palestinians either. She must make her voice statement understood, and she should also say she can understand why they would want to ban the movie in their country, but she feels that that statement is actually working against them because it would inspire people to want to break past the oppression. So, in other words, Gal can use that movie as an opportunity to again try and bring peace between Israel and Palestine. She can do that. And quite frankly, my point anyway is this. Haters are going to hate anyway. We know that. That's why they call haters. But the point is that things sustain and they keep on moving forward, not because of the haters, but because of the intrinsic value that these things bring. That's why I told you guys Batman v Superman is going to be a classic. It's not going to be a cult classic. Forget that. It's going to be a classic. All right? And we've seen this in history before. All right? And the scripture I read is just panning out in real. And another thing I want to say. Some of you may say you're atheists or you're whatever you are, and I respect that. You can be whatever you want to be in this world. Okay? That's the beauty of it. But one thing I would like to advise you guys is if you like my videos, then do understand all of my videos are based on scripture. Everything I say is based on what I just read. And while it might sound different, because, when you read Bible and stuff like that, the books have, what do you say, Old English. So it's very detached from the real world. And I try to make it more current and more relevant to you guys. But at the end of the day, whether you believe in God or not is not my problem. My problem is making you understand that the principles that I read about are the actual things you live. You either live them or you don't live them. But either way, they're going to be there, whether you agree with them or not. The principle of reciprocity literally exists. That the universe cannot exist without a yin and a yang. To every cause, there is an effect. You understand? So, when I speak these principles, they're literal things that are playing out every single day in front of you, whether you believe them or you don't want to believe them. And I'm not trying to convert anyone to anything, but I like to read things which are very old. Wonder Woman is a very old person. She's almost 1,000 years old. She's amassed a lot of knowledge over that period of time. And just as you guys would believe in a Wonder Woman, so I just say, hear me out at least. Listen to what I have to say. Don't put the mute button on because you don't want to hear something because you feel that you have a certain belief system and therefore you cannot entertain the notion of something other than your belief system. In life, we must be able to be open-minded, to hear other people out and their points of view. We may not agree with it, but we must hear them out. That way, we're able to get a better perspective of where they're coming from. With nonsensical people, however, I do say you must stay away from them. People who their logic is non-logical, not that it's a bad thing per se, but when someone makes an allegation, especially when they're being very destructive or negative, and they make an allegation, and you realize that this allegation is false, very much like Donald Trump and his crew at the present point in time. I usually refer to them because there is no logic behind what they're doing. They just do whatever they feel like doing. Those people have no respect for other people. So if you're talking about those kinds of people, yes, you avoid them. But if you're talking about somebody else who is striving to do something good, always hear them out. Because all of us come here and we try to do the best we can with what we know. Alright? So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do have a great day. You guys have a great one.